Well, hello, folks. Got to go to work here pretty soon, get ready, but I'm up, I guess, last day for my days off, so that's always nice. But I want to talk about insanity. It's always the same thing from people across all aisles. The insanity of we've just got to get this person out who's leading us today. I hear it every single election since I can remember. Besides Ralph Klein right here in Alberta, I have never seen anyone champion to re elect anyone ever again. Ever again. We've just got to get them out. That's the solution that I would say 90% of Canadians come up with. If that's not insane, I don't know what is. We've just got to get them out. I remember Rachel Notley and everyone going, we've just got to get her out. In comes Jason Kenney. We've just got to get him out. And now he is. He went so low. Go back Alison Redford and on and on and on. And people still will go back to some of these people like they forgot 3, 4, 10, 15 years later. Oh, they're not that bad. Let's have it. Let's have it. Folks, in Canada, specifically Alberta, there's only one premier, which is the provincial crown. We have federal crown. There's never been a federal prime minister not to incur monumental debt. The line of debt goes like this. So people talking about physical constraint, conservatism, I don't think you know what that means. I think most people are content in socialism. Take care of me. My divine ruler, my divine savior is going to save me. And when the bubble bursts, which it does every single time, the race is on for the next superior human being who's going to fill your head full of bullshit. You want to be lied to. Meanwhile, the cost of living ever so increases. Your wealth decreases. And for those who say, oh no, I'm doing well. Really? How much is your money actually worth? Because I know for me, what I was worth 20 years ago is not my worth today. All things aside, your value, your labor, your toil, your businesses have gone down. Farming's gone down. Does land go up? Sure, but who's going to buy it? And think of all the taxes you're paying. I was talking to young guys today at work, telling them what it's like to have teenage daughters after watching all the years go by since my son, who's in his 20s, to my daughters today, and they're entering high school. The tuitions, the fees, the books, on top of everything. What it used to mean in property taxes, when I paid my property taxes, what's happened to all that money? Because my roads aren't fixed. They don't shovel sidewalks. It goes on and on and on. When I was a child, when my mom put me in school, most of it was covered out of your property taxes. Not so anymore. Province dumped a mass amount, which they do every single premier. They dump a mass amount of tax burden upon municipalities. Say, oh, we're not increasing taxes. Oh, but you are. They jack the value of land because in Canada there's so little amounts available. This is done with the federal crown and absolutely with the provincial crown. Canadians don't wake up. We could settle everything tomorrow. Individually as provinces, at least a whopping share of it by cementing property rights and settling claims. Canadians have no idea how much value could be restored to them. But they don't seem to understand. They just go, I just want this person out. I will elect someone new. Someone new who's going to do all the same abuses, crank up the debt, even though they said they wouldn't. Harper said he wouldn't. And for a year or two, it kind of looked like that was true. But then, all of a sudden, a crash and monumental bailouts because these companies who raped and looted, specifically big banks here in Canada, who issued credit when they knew there was no ability to pay. And what did the government do? Instead of letting all those institutions go belly up, because remember, people were taking commissions to be paid. We made a tremendous amount of wealth transfers to those people who printed money. That's what they did. And Harper's answer was, let's print money, let's bail them out. He borrowed, folks. Never mind, oh, he balanced the budget for 2 years. What did he do to the total debt? Because the total debt that he accumulated was all of every prime minister, including Pierre Elliott Trudeau, combined. He borrowed that. He borrowed that in a bailout for people who took monumental billions in printed money from all of you, issuing loans that now went default, that the taxpayer eats anyway, along with the bailout money to keep the large financial institutions intact. They bailed out automotive to keep manufacturing intact, and they still closed plants. You all got the debt while others filled their pockets and ran out of the country. That's how it works in Canada. First class, the rest is to hell with you. If you don't believe me, there's 212 pages of your Canadian Constitution you should read. You were never given civics in school. The Crown Monarchy would never allow that to go through an education. Not provincially, which is the privy, and certainly not federal because it isn't their privy, and they don't want to end the absolute divinity of the politicians. And Canada, like New Zealand, like Australia, and a few other crown jewels, but those are the three worst ones, the citizens embrace it. Oh, my government cares about me. All I have to do is get this one out and elect the next one who's going to double down. If you don't believe me, Trudeau doubled Harper. Just when you think that you couldn't get any worse in money printing and everything else, here comes Trudeau, who doubled down on Harper. Pierre Elliott Trudeau, way back when, did the same thing over his 13 years of terror. Worst ever, until the next one and the next one. Canadians don't seem to understand that we're printing money so rapidly, so much creation of money, that the people can only service it. You're servicing debt, meaning your services are reduced. And we all know it. At least I do. I'm not one of those people who pretends that my life 20 years ago was somehow worse than it is now, because my life was much better. I could go on holidays with my kids. I could do anything I wanted to do. Wages have gone down, especially in all primary sectors. And Canadians don't seem to wake up to that. They seem to think that somehow this divine politician is going to come along, your next savior, your next Lord Majesty, and save you. When the reality is, I can predict it with absolute certainty, that Pierre Poilievre is going to do exactly what he's written in writing to all his handlers. You're going to hear all about it tomorrow. Part 2. People don't want to hear it. They seemingly don't care. Oh, it's not true. He loves me. He's my next Jesus. That's what people are like. It's pathetic. You do it, Canadians, because I guess you like to be abused. People need to share this video. You need to get it out there because it's what it is. And it's over and over. You don't see this in many, many other countries in the world. They never, ever tolerate it. Countries with a heck of a lot less than Canada. A heck of a lot less. Canada is an overabundance of resources. We don't even really have to manufacture except for to take our raw resources out and ship them out to the world. But the powers that be, both liberal and conservative, don't ever want you to do that because then you wouldn't rely on them anymore. No premier wants a provincial constitution because that would empower all of you in property rights for the first time ever, water rights for the first time ever, your natural resources for the first time ever, and we can go on and on and on. Heck, you might even take that power of education and create civics for the first time in Canadian history, understanding real human rights, real civil rights, and what those mean. Canadians don't know. You learn about your majesty. You learn about great heroes of colonialism. I went to school K to 12 here. When I got into high academic institutions, I learned that Canada's a joke. Africans in large portions from many of those 52 nations, many of those nations, you can talk to them. They know a heck of a lot more about civics than Canadians do. That's troubling, that's scary. And we are only ever one election away from the next Hitler. And that's a fact. The power of what Hitler did with Chancellor is what can be done with Governor General of Canada. Prime Minister could do that, or the Governor General coming on can do that with consent from the Prime Minister. That's exactly what Hitler did when Germany was designed exactly like Canada. And people can say, oh, people won't fall for that. They're not that institutionalized. Well, the Germans did. They got institutionalized. Canadians still believe that a divine politician's going to come along and save them. Everyone's got their hope wrapped around Pierre, thinking that somehow he's going to restore Canada. He will double down on Trudeau's debt. I can guarantee it. Globalism here to stay. Anyone with children in the Catholic school, I should share that screenshot and show everybody. They're into the one world government order now too. It's there, sponsored by conservatives. They think that's normal. Let's get all the religious folks on the one world government, new world order. It's there. It's right in my children's Catholic school board right in Alberta. Where did that come from? Did that come from Trudeau? Or did that come from Jason Kenney? Yeah, people go, oh, Trudeau. I hate Trudeau. I do. He's a piece of shit. Chrystia Freeland, a leftist journalist, what are you doing running the finances of the country? And people think that's great. People who have no business running the country in any way, shape, or form run the country. We do this over and over and over and over again. Canada continues to go like this. Now, we can exploit our vast resources for quite a long time before the buck stops. But with the inaccessibility of land, seeing just how small Canada really is when you look at the map of what we're allowed actually to live on, is very little. You rely on your divine crown. Nobody can dispute this. Nobody seems to even care about this. No one seems to care that we, the people, are not in the Constitution. None whatsoever. People can jump out and pull out one page, the Charter, and say, oh, the Charter says for First People. There's clauses before, clauses after. That Charter is applied to you by your king dictator, your pure autocrat. And that's whomever you've elected prime minister. They decide your charter. If you want human rights and you want civil rights, you need to cement those in provincial constitutionalism. You will never hear any premier candidate ever bring that up. Why is that? Well, that's because they don't want you to have the power. They want you under their thumb, them and their global elites. There's many like that today. And still people ignore these realities. Oh, this person's going to save me. It's going to be different this time. If you're going to roll the dice on somebody who has divine power over you in pure autocracy, I'm sorry, but you're a cuckold slave. No different, no different than going back in time to the Israelites in Egypt, waiting for a savior. If that's you putting your faith in a human being to come along and not take full advantage in the Constitution of Canada that we have, you're way out. You're way out institutionalized, and you need to read all 212 pages of your Constitution. To put it in perspective, take the United States Constitution. Read those back and forth together. Preamble, preamble. This to this, this to this. And you're going to realize the people in the United States have a tremendous amount more power vested in the people than Canadians. In fact, Canadians are under class structure, which 90% of us don't even compute in the Canadian Constitution. All of the First Peoples are savage Indians. That's the legal speak. I didn't make that. That's what it is forever and a day. Liberals and conservatives think this is terrific. They come up with the words Aboriginal, Indigenous, and then they pull things like UNDRIP. None of it is legality. The Indian Act, 1876, that's legality. Arctic Ocean Conference and Council, that is legality. Everybody else, poof, all your delusions fed to you by your divine politicians aren't legal speak. It's called a con job. You're being institutionalized. If you believe any of that, you're being institutionalized. That's reality. There is no divine savior except for filthy socialist autocrats who fill their pockets at absolutely all of your expenses. You will work, you will transfer your money ever increasingly, and they will continue to remove your services more, and more. We can't give any raises across the board to any public sector right now. Inflation calls for it, but we can't because primary sector is so far in the dumps. The wages are so low. We can't even get raises. The Bank of Canada and all the institutions get to raise their interest rates, making all their money grow that they took from you, and may even get to take back the properties when you can't make the mortgage payments in the next year or two. And then they're going to turn around and put them out there for somebody else. They never lose. The only losers are all of you. All of you. And for those who say, oh, I'm doing good, everything's great. Are you? Look at your deficits and debts. Look where your taxes go. Look where your taxes went 20 years ago. Look 40 years ago. Who's creating all the inflation? Who's destroying you? Who's increasing the cost of living while lowering your standard of living? That's very simple. It's not George Soros and a bunch of billionaires. Well, sure, they're in there. But who's legislating the laws to allow them to come in here and implement this stuff? Who's legislating for all these institutions to transfer wealth from you? Who's legislating the corruption of the business community by crushing them with bills and acts? Your politicians. Have the liberals and conservatives consistently been doing that? Yes. Yes. GST, whatever happened to GST? Wasn't it supposed to be temporary? Weren't they going to get rid of it in 2 years? They said 2 to 5 years max. How many decades later, and we're still increasing debt. We're still paying more than we ever did to politicians and all their civil societies they own. The bloat grows and you all just walk on blindly. Take more, I'll make less. increase interest rates, do whatever you got, whip me, beat me, take everything from me. Forget the Declaration of Human Rights. If none of you have ever read it, 1948, I suggest you do. Are you getting a fair value for the labor and toil, services rendered, or businesses you go through? Are you getting a fair value for what you're putting into it? Think about that. If you're not, it's all because of legislation, acts, and bills. Your legislators, MPs, MLAs, provincial, federal, federal crown, provincial crown, federal crown land, provincial crown land. 87% of the country isn't available to any of you. It's why property values are through the roof. It makes no sense, but it does if you're the divine politician. It does if you're the big global harvester of wealth from people in any nation. Sure, it makes sense to them. Rape, pillage, and plunder. That's the problem with constitutional monarchies. You need to end it. You need to cement the power of government. By doing that, you change the Constitutional Act of Canada. Power to the people. More, for the first time in Canadian history, all the provinces enact provincial constitutions with the people themselves. It can be done. It's been shared many times. People say it can't be done. Well, Barbados is doing it right now. My friend Susan took the Governor General, as Hitler did in Germany. She did that in Barbados. She did it the good way. She used it to destroy the monarchy. Power to the people. They're writing their constitution right now, working at it tremendously hard. She's now the president of the Republic of Barbados, Democratic Republic. Should be interesting to see what we see come of that with a power to the people. That's my video, folks. You share, or you put your head in the sand. Hey, the Germans did in 1931. By 1933, there was the Enabling Act, which led to the eradication of Jews, sent us into World War III, runaway colonialism. It's going to happen eventually in Canada. There's no doubt in my mind. And Canadians beat down so far, starving, you will eventually comply, capitulate, and you will find your divine savior who will lead you into a shithouse. We get it every 4 years. Show me anyone who successfully reduced the debt. And don't say Harper, because he most certainly did not. Find somebody else. I can't find any. All I find is this. All the way up. You're tremendously less valued as a citizen than your great-grandparents were. That's a fact. Fact, Jack. Have a good day, everybody. Share. Get it out there. You can choose not to. You can let your fellow man vote for your next divine savior. But they're not going to save you. They're just going to steal, rape, pillage, plunder. Why not? Constitution says they're superior. You're shit. That's the truth. I don't.